Hi, this is Sujit Paul here. Today's podcast would primarily take you around when the life moves off from the physical body, how the process progression goes. Now, we have done multiple sessions on the methodology of retreating a physical life. But what actually happens is when the prana goes out, then there are multiple other 4 stages that have to be followed. But first thing is that the respiratory function actually stops out. Now in our section of life, when someone is not well or someone is good enough in health and suddenly decedes into a sense of the life going out, the first and foremost thing that clinically the physicians check is that whether the pulmonary functions are working or not. If the pulmonary functions are not working, then there's a other series of tests that have to go through, and if the physician declares that the patient is clinically dead, but still then there are portions that stays alive. Now, whilst the patient is clinically dead, but the patient could still be revived back through various spiritual processes, which is itself a very complex phenomena. Now, in the first 1 to 2 hours, when the soul is still there around, you will see that at times the body twitches. There are scenarios that we have seen and heard that the toe fingers move around, or there is a constriction in the body that happens, but it's a clinical death. Now what I'm trying to explain is that whilst the prana have gone, there are still sections in the body which are there before it completely recedes out, and also that there are mechanisms where you can bundle it back. That is the reason in the earlier days, if you see those movies etc. of saints, you will see that if someone is dead, still they could actually get them back. And that is the reason in the normal phenomena of life, normal process of life, we always see that it's a very good idea that once someone is dead, to do the kriya as soon as possible. It should be ideally within 4 hours. Unfortunately, in today's days, people wait for the children to come back from abroad, so on and so forth. That's not a very good idea. So you should ideally, do whatever you do as per your religion at the earliest. Now, if these kind of things are looked into where the prana goes out, and then you should rather help the soul to get out completely. It's like if you imagine in a simpler way that there is a birth that's happening, and through the normal process, if the child is coming out, it's a good idea to help to ensure that gradually and slowly the child ejects out from the mother in the right way. In a similar way, it's always a good idea for people who know to work towards ensuring that completely the soul detaches at the earliest, because then the soul have its own work to perform, and the soul have to leave and it need to go to the next level of movement where the soul need to get into its own journey. So if any of your friends, families, relatives get into a phenomena of death, first thing is that you do not need to get into a scenario of mourning. I know that it's more of theory and it's practical to feel sad, get into emotional downtrodden, etc. But try as much as possible to give a good farewell to the soul, so that the soul can actually enjoy its own farewell and have a better journey going forward in its own avatar, because the soul have to live its own life somewhere else, which we have discussed in other podcasts or in the other seminars that we have done. So if you want to know more about the soul journey, reach out to sujitpaul.com, and we would definitely try to answer your questions, assist if there is a close family member who is very unwell, you foresee that they can go any point of time. There is a complete course that we prepare people for death, So preparation for death is a very, very crucial thing, and do reach out to us, because this is a very, very important thing. Like preparation for birth, you ensure that to have multiple preparations when a birth is happening in the house. Similarly, preparation of death is much more critical and crucial if you really have loved someone. So do reach out to us. We will handhold and guide how to get prepared for death, both for the prospective departing body and for the family. Thank you so much.